Well, good morning, folks. Happy Wednesday and happy day 2 of the Continuing Education Training Institute, or SETI. My name is Kevin Smith. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at ProTrain. I'd like to welcome you all to our first session this morning, where we're going to be talking about advancing military spouse careers, a true mission that we're all very proud to be involved with through the DoD MyCAA certification program. On our panel today are two of our great partners, Brenda Ballard from Texas A&M Kingsville and Sam Partabon from University of Texas El Paso. I want to thank them both for being here today and thank everybody for being with us today on this presentation. Before we get started, I do want to say that our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of Hurricane Helene and its tremendous devastation that it's had on many states where our great citizens are located. The other thing I would say is that we continue to pray for those that are in the path of Hurricane Milton that will start to hit the coastline of Florida probably within about the next 12 hours. So I just ask you to say some thoughts and prayers for those great people and hope that the good Lord keeps them safe. That said, I'm going to go into our presentation here now. I want to thank our great sponsors. CIW is our title sponsor this year, sponsored also by AMCA and us here at ProTrain. And all of the other emblems that you see are people who are contributing to the SETI effort, okay? Our friends at Texas A&M Kingsville and UTEP, you see their logos there as well as other partners who have helped make SETI possible this year. So thank you one and all for your great support of this effort. Just a few housekeeping rules. First of all, this session, as in all sessions for SETI, are being recorded. The links to the PDF presentation files and the recordings will all be made available following the end of SETI later this week. All attendees that come on are automatically muted when joining. We would ask you to use the Q&A box located on the lower navigation bar for any of your questions, and we'll get to your questions at the end of the session. There's actually a part where we will have a Q&A that I will lead for Sam and Brenda to be able to answer. Also, feel free to post to your social media using our hashtag SETI2024 for you Facebookers and social media mites out there. Also, feel free to join our SETI alumni group on LinkedIn. It's a way to keep connected to the people that are all involved in SETI, and a great place to possibly raise discussion topics for future things that we'll talk on in either future SETIs or quarterly webinars that we like to have as well. Just some reminders about that. I'd like to now welcome our two panel members, okay? I am very professionally and personally proud to introduce Miss Brenda Ballard. She hails from Texas A&M University Kingsville. She's an expert in interpersonal communication with emphasis on personal communication. Brenda's got 25 years of experience, and she has successfully formulated a lot of innovative strategies to help elevate interpersonal communication skills and the management of operations for both private and public sectors in both business and education. As the director of the Center for Continuing Education at Texas A&M Kingsville, she has successfully created a multiple range of partnerships and collaboration efforts with various university stakeholders and educational providers. She has an unwavering passion that lies in customer service and non-traditional customer support, which is right in line with what everybody does in continuing education these days. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Communication from Texas A&M University Kingsville and is working on completing her Master's in Arts and Communication at West Texas A&M University. So, Miss Brenda, welcome and thank you for being on the panel today. Also on our panel is another friend of mine that's been with us for many years, Sam Partabon. He is the program manager for professional public programs at the University of Texas El Paso, and he's been there for the last 8 years. Sam holds a master's degree in education and leadership studies, a bachelor's in science and business with a concentration in marketing from University of Wales, and has over 40 years of management experience. His career background includes 30 years of military service. Thank you, my military friend, for your great service. Managing an English language institute, program marketing, and curriculum design, just to name a few of his sidelight hobbies in his 40 years of serving. As a program manager with the professional and public programs at UTEP, he oversees the military and workforce career assistance programs and works with third-party partners like ProTrain for online continuing education courses. He hails from Singapore and is a very proud father of a U.S. Army active duty combat medic, which we spoke about prior to coming on. He is very proud of his daughter and how she serves our great nation every day. So once again, thank you, Brenda and Sam, for being with us this morning. Our agenda today is to make sure that everybody that joins us today or listens in on this program knows about what the MyCAA program is about. We're going to talk about its history, its background, the current trends, because the programs have continued to evolve since it started back in 2007. And then we're going to hear great insights about lessons learned about how they support this great program from both Texas A&M Kingsville and UTEP. And then we've got some questions already primed and ready to go for our school leaders, as well as anything that you'll submit through the Q&A box. So what is the MyCAA program? The MyCAA program, first of all, MyCAA, another acronym, because you have to have a lot of acronyms in and around the services, stands for My Career Advancement Account, or MyCAA for short. It provides $4,000 in eligible training, and it's open to the ranks that you see there, okay, E1 through E9, which are now all enlisted ranks. That's important, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The first three ranks of Warrant Officer 1 through 3, and then the first three levels of commissioned officers, Second Lieutenant, First Lieutenant, and Captain. It's available to all active duty soldiers in all the services and those who are in the National Guard to get called up on Title 10 orders, okay? And we'll go into a little bit about what happens when Title 10 orders happen. That's important, particularly in light of what's going on with hurricanes. There's a lot of National Guardsmen who are being activated, getting Title 10 orders, and that's really a great opportunity for those military spouses, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. So currently, the limit per year is $2,000 per FY, for a total of $4,000 over the total program use, okay? ProTrain provides an additional $300 scholarship to any spouse, okay, that ProTrain supports, okay? And if the program exceeds the current threshold, we'll work with school partners to provide a payment plan for that delta to help spouses be able to get there. Our most popular programs, okay, and we'll talk to this with Sam and Brenda as well, are those that you see here. The major takeaway is that it's not just military for medical or IT or business. It's all of that. It's a wide range of careers, and it's important because military spouses really need to be able to have available high demand careers no matter where their next PCS order takes them. A little bit about the background. As I said before, it's a DoD funded program. It originated back in 2007. So imagine, if you will, a program when there was no rank restriction. It was $6,000 for every military spouse, and they could use it for any degree program or any credential program. So you had everything from flag officers' wives going back to grad school, or privates' wives tearing up because for the first time they could figure out how to do a PowerPoint presentation, and everything in the middle. For the first 6 months, folks, this program went nuts, okay? ProTrain alone was helping 4 of the 7 beta schools involved in the MyCAA program, and we were bringing in over $500,000 every month. It was explosive growth. We could barely keep up with it, okay? And there was a big conference, and the MyCAA director came on and announced that the program was going really well, but they had almost bankrupted the DOD overnight, and they were going to have to put it on hold. And he almost needed an armed escort to get off the stage. I mean, it was that crazy. They put rank restriction back on and funding restrictions. And where it stands at right now is that spouses that are eligible can work towards an associate degree with this funding or credential programs. But it has to be vetted credential programs, and only those will be funded. Certificate programs that might have been used in the past are no longer authorized. It has to be a credential that pretty much guarantees it's in a high demand career field that'll help get spouse hired. Recently, they've added some new ranks, but they did put a restriction of $2,000 per year without any exceptions. Up until last year, if the program went over $2,000, say like medical billing and coding, which is probably the most expensive program, just under $4,000, they were given a one-time exception, and the spouse could do that. They're no longer doing that, okay? And that's important, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go ahead. The new update as of the 13th of September from the DOD included the ranks of E7, E8, and E9, the top 3 enlisted ranks, and added CW3, the top warrant officer ranks, okay? My take on that is the reason they did that is because they're trying to keep more people in the service. And the reason for that is during COVID, we saw that about 48% of military spouses had to stop their jobs to be the stay-at-home parent to homeschool the kids. There was just no getting around it. 80% of the spouses that left their job said they'd go right back to doing it again if they could have a high demand job that could give them some type of security, particularly if they could work from home. Okay. And there's been a lot of emphasis on that in the programs that we and our partners offer. Okay. So that financial assistance is key in helping military spouses pursue a license, a certification, or associate's degree, as well as testing for college credit or continuing education units. Okay. So it's aimed at helping reduce the barriers to unemployment for military spouses. If you were to go on to Google right now and say, what is the unemployment rate for military spouses? The last time I checked it about 2 weeks ago, it's 23%, my friends. The national unemployment rate is just under 4%, yet spouses are 8 times higher at 23%. So this is the type of training that spouses need to get them employed and help contribute that at overall family income, okay? As I said before, there's no more exception to the $2,000 per FY limit, okay? The other restriction that they put on here is that once a spouse uses that funding for the first time, they have 3 years to use the remaining funding from the date of the first use. And that would be considered the start date on their financial authorization form, or FA form as we refer to it. So if Sally starts on 1 October 2024, well then by 1 October 2027, she has to use the remaining part of that $4,000 or she will lose it, okay? That's not a bad thing necessarily, okay? But they don't want, they realize that with all that ranks, okay, you know, somebody could be in 20 years and not use all that money. And so they're trying to get that money used on a shortened term. So Kevin's going to be quiet here, and everybody's going, whew, thanks, boy, that guy talked a lot, okay? But I want to hear what is going on in terms of efforts. And so we've asked Brendan and Sam to put together some key talking points, and we always go ladies first. So Miss Brenda from Texas A&M Kingsville, please take us from here, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us. And we would love to talk about our partnerships, especially with ProTrain. So one of the key things that I did when I came into this position 7 years ago was I wanted to make sure our customer service was superior. And that was super easy to do with ProTrain because they listened to me and what my expectations were, specifically with the quick response times to leads. So we have a student contact us, they want some additional information. I send that information on to Natalie. It's super quick that they respond back. By providing that, we prevent that block, that roadblock that sometimes happens with adult learners. And we didn't want that. We wanted it to be as smooth, as easy as possible process for them so that they stay excited, and that initiative that they built keeps going. So we do follow up on our responses. That's something extremely important to us. And we make sure that the student had every question answered and they feel comfortable going on. That is extremely important because you get a lot of students who will start a course, realize this isn't what they wanted. We have a problem doing a transfer or dropping the course. And so it's making sure they're excited and this is exactly what they want. This is what they want to do going forward. Not only do you have to make sure that they're comfortable, but you have to take into consideration the future of the student. What we try to do is we try to make sure that we know if they have a transfer coming up, so that we know whatever certification they're going to get, is it applicable to the state that they're going to the country that they're going to. We make sure we know what their future holds so that what we're doing will be perfect for that future. I think taking those little extra steps has made us very successful in our completion rate, of all of our courses. And so I think the key point in having this whole support system, for our students is removing the obstacles and making sure it's an easy transition into the student role. A lot of these, like you mentioned, Kevin, that, they're wives that are at home, they're mothers. And so let's see what we can do. If we notice that they haven't logged on in a while, we'll reach out to them. Hey, you haven't logged into the system. Do you need us to put it on pause? Do you need us to give you some extra time? We make sure that we do whatever we can to make the process as smooth for them. And it's a little different when all of a sudden you become a student. And so we want to make sure that they're okay with that and that they're good at processing everything, and they have all of the support that they need from us, and then from our third-party vendors such as ProTrain.
Let me come off mute there. Okay. Great points, Brenda. If you can't feel the passion in Brenda's voice, you need to do a pulse check because this lady is absolutely passionate about helping spouses out, and she's just great. Now, I will tell you, someone who's just as passionate, okay, is our friend Sam Pardavan at UTEP. Mr. Sam, welcome, and please talk to us about your key points, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, and I'm thrilled to share some of the amazing ways that we have helped military spouses succeed professionally and personally. At P3, we understand the importance of educational flexibility, especially for military spouses who move frequently or have unpredictable schedules. That's why we work with ProTrain to offer a variety of online and hybrid learning options in fields like healthcare, IT, and business management, and careers that are in high demand and portable across states and even countries or regions. This flexibility allows military spouses to grow professionally no matter where they are stationed. We are proud of our ongoing collaboration with the Fort Bliss Education Center. I cannot stress this more. We need to work with the education centers of bases nearby. Our partnership and direct communication with the education center staff allows us to offer tailored career counseling services to military spouses, helping them align their career aspirations with jobs that are in demand. Whether it's through our UTEP office at Fort Bliss or the education center staff, We provide critical support to help military spouses find portable careers which ensure they can maintain employment as they relocate and PCS around the world. Of course, every success story comes with challenges. Many military spouses discover that their desired programs may not be eligible for funding. So at UTEP, we are working closely with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funding source. We work with an organization called Borderplex to assist with such situation. We believe that by improving our communication and support to the spouses, we can make a real difference in easing their burdens. Broader economic and social impact of supporting the military spouses is in their educational and career journey goes far beyond individual success. When military families feel supported, when spouses have access to meaningful career opportunities, it enhances overall military retention and morale. A family's well-being contributes significantly to a service member's decision to stay in the military, and we are proud that our programs contribute to this stability. Let me just cover a couple of initiatives that we have used over the years. Over the years in P3, we have launched several initiatives like we have created a dedicated web page where spouses can easily find all relevant information about program, resources, and opportunities available to them. In addition to MyCAA, we offer information on various scholarship grants, discounts available through local organizations in El Paso. We have built partnerships with local employers who are known for hiring military spouses, especially knowing that they may PCS in a short notice. These partnerships allow us to host career fairs and networking opportunities that directly connect spouses with potential employers. We are also excited to promote upcoming information sessions in collaboration with Fort Bliss. These sessions, both virtual and in person, are designed to guide spouses through their educational and career planning process. Lastly, we partner with Fort Bliss to hold military spouse appreciation events where we recognize the vital contribution of military spouses and showcase the wide range of educational and professional development opportunities available through UTEP academic and non-academic programs and certifications. With that, thank you very much for joining today's webinar, and I'll hand over to Mr. Kevin.
Sam, thank you for some great points and several initiatives. And I've taken a couple notes here I'm going to comment on a little bit later in the Q&A session, which brings us to our Q&A time with our panel. Just to remind everybody that you can go into the Q&A portion and put any questions that you've got there, and I'll be tracking that. And in the meantime, while you're thinking about questions you might have, I've got a couple questions to lead off. The answers for all questions that are addressed today will be sent with the PDF file of the briefing that we send all those that either attend or registered for today's session. So to kick off some of these questions, Kay, let me ask Brenda and Sam, how long have you been providing courses for the MyCAA programs at your school?
So I have been working here for almost 7 years now, and it started way before me. And so I was so excited when I found out that we offered this, this was even a thing, was super exciting. And looking back, I think we've done it almost 10 years. And so it's been a huge success here in our department to be able to provide these.
Right. Sam, how about UTEP?
I think UTEP has been doing this for a couple of years longer than 10 years. So I would say maybe about 10 to 12 years. They've been doing this, and I've been running this for about 8 years now.
Right. Yeah, Fort Bliss is, even though it was a BRAC installation, they moved the Air Defense Center and school from there out to the Fire Center at Fort Sill, but they brought the 1st Armor Division into your backyard. So, you lost about, population of about 10 to 12,000 and gained 17,000 in the trade-off. Okay. I've got a question that's just come in from an anonymous attendee. With the $2,000 annual limit for MyCAA, how do you ensure that military spouses can still afford the training they need for high demand courses? What other additional resources or funding options do you have that you're employing to be effective in that manner? Brenda, I'll start with you.
So we don't offer anything specifically out of our office. What ProTrain has done has really looked at their courses to adjust them to make sure that they are still aligned, industry aligned. There's still adequate certifications and they fall in that 2,000 limit. Don't get me wrong, we do get people who want something else. And so we look at where they're located to see what kind of funding they may have through some sort of workforce development. And can we do something there for them? Sometimes we let them know this may just be a stepping stone. Like, go ahead and let's try this one, especially if it's in the medical field. We can get this approved for you, and then it'll if it's still something you enjoy, then your next step would be something else. But it did cause an issue. I won't sugarcoat that. It did cause an issue when they jumped from the 4,000 to the 2,000 limit.
Right.
But we've made those adjustments, and we make sure that they're still getting the adequate education and instruction through the courses, and then looking to see what's available in their areas that would suit them.
Okay, very good. Sam, how about you at UTEP there?
I think Brenda covered almost the whole gist of it. I'll just chime in that working with ProTrain, I know you do offer a bit of a scholarship to cover some of the costs. I think it's about $300 for the students. And then we can work, as Brenda alluded to, we work with the workforce and see if they can cover the cost or if they can provide the full funding for these military spouses.
Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I believe in both of your cases, you also authorize a payment plan. Okay, on a
Yes.
non-MyCAA. So let's say it's medical billing and coding, but the spouse is still going to fall short, say like $1,900. Okay, if you authorize a payment plan,
Mhm.
we'll have the spouse come in with a down payment
Mhm.
of that $1,900, and then 5 to 6 installment payments over time for that. Okay, so they're gonna pull a little bit out of pocket. Okay, but the first $2,000 is going to be on the DoD, and if we do, if you agree to that, we run the payment plans, and it's a zero interest payment plan because nobody wants to pay school, and you don't want any more school loans, any more interest on our credit cards. A zero interest payment plan is the only other way to try to get spouses those more expensive credential programs. Okay, so I thought I heard each of you say that you're supporting spouses worldwide. So do you in fact have students that you are supporting that are outside the U.S. and if so, where are some of the examples of where some of those spouses are at these days? Brenda?
So I do get a lot from Germany, and all over, really, all over the United States. I've had some in Guam. I've had different locations, and nothing changes. It doesn't matter where you are. We're still, able to help them, and that's what's amazing.
Have computer, will learn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sam, how about you at UTEP?
Well, we have a wide, all over the world. I do have spouses in Japan, in Puerto Rico, in Hawaii. So you can say the whole span, including the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have a wide variety of people.
And trust me, when the spouse has a good educational experience and they receive the type of customer support that you and Brenda are giving, they will tell their buddies. They will go to their spouse groups on LinkedIn or Facebook, and they will tell their buds that was a good experience. And people buy from people when it's all said and done. And if that experience is good and the customer support is good and the success rate in terms of that student passing that credential exam is a high level pass rate, that is what resonates within the spouses. Okay. we talked about spouses outside the continental United States. How do you handle communication with those spouses typically? This time I'm going to start with Sam and then go back to Brenda.
I mean, it is sometimes a challenge because of the zones, the time zones. Sometimes they are in day, we are in the night, and these are some things that we signed up for with this title, and you find that we have to accommodate and make some changes here, try to come to a compromise. Like I have a spouse in Japan who can only call me at midnight El Paso time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only time that works for her with her family
Right.
situation. Is not that she just chooses that time, but because of her family situation, that's the only time she can call. So I'm more than happy to sit down and discuss how we can help her and work with us. So it is always a give and take. Sometimes communications through emails or chats also do work, and WhatsApp seems to be very popular with people outside the US.
Brenda, how about you?
Yeah, exactly what Sam said. I mean, they're in a different time zone than us, even in the United States. And so one of the things we do is when they call us and we're going to pass the lead on to ProTrain, we ask them where they are. What's a good time to call? Where are you located right now, so we can make sure we're calling you back at the appropriate hour? Because we don't want to call them when it's in late at night or too early in the morning for them. And so it's remembering that you think everybody's in your time zone, right? And so you've got to make sure you know exactly where they are, so you know how to contact them, and then finding the best way to contact them. If an email is what they would prefer, then let's do that. If it's a phone call because they want to hear a human voice, that's fine. We'll do that as well. I probably should, leave my phone and not look at it in the evenings or early in the mornings, but I do. And so I check. And if we have an email from one of them, then I'll respond. And, I've did responses at 5 a.m. before. But I don't want them to lose that momentum. And so if that's what it takes, that's fine. And then we're very quick to check our voicemails. So if they did call throughout the night, to our main line or my line, then we check that first thing in the morning so we can get a hold of them. So it's little things, little changes that you have to make, but it's not that big of a deal. And man, they sure do appreciate it.
I had a active duty military member call me from Korea, and when they call me, it comes right into my computer, voice over internet, asking me to help his wife
Yeah.
get signed up, and she was back at Fort Cavazos, Texas, okay, and I said sure, and so the very next morning I explained to him that it was like 8 o'clock my time, and I was just sitting there. I think I was watching a Thursday night football game or something, and I told him the next morning Megan or Natalie would be talking directly to his wife, and he said that, hey, I'm just glad somebody answered the phone. So and they really do appreciate when you get back with them right away. Okay, that resonates with them. What would you say are some of the top requested credential programs that military spouses have been asking you for, Brenda?
So I looked because I wanted to be as accurate as possible. So it really looks like anything in the HR professional range, which we do offer courses that are at the $2,000 limit. That seems to be really, really big, which is a great field. I'm previous an HR manager, so I do know the benefits of that field. We also have medical billing and coding and a pharmacy tech. Those also are very big courses for us.
Okay. Sam, what are you seeing at UTEP?
More on the healthcare business and human resource.
Okay. Yeah,
This is the main
APHR and
two big topics
PHR that
that is
aligns
going there
with
for
the
military
HRCI
spouses.
credentials. Yeah. Okay, very good. Brenda, you mentioned this before about spouses sometimes needing extra help and time. Okay. Can a spouse get an extension on a course? If so, how do you go about doing that?
Yes, they do. We do look at their login history. We see, did they make an effort? Were they trying? And then what can we do? How far are they? So we know how long of an extension they might need. If they're almost done and we just can offer them, a couple more weeks, something like that. If they're really not working towards it, then it's another kind of question. And it's what other support do you need? Where else can we help you? But we do offer extensions, and that, life gets in the way. They had a transfer all of a sudden. They had something else come up in their life. And so we definitely understand that. And we're here to try to accommodate as much as possible.
When it comes to an extension, why is an extension important, Sam? What happens if a spouse doesn't complete a course?
There are twofold studies. One is a personal. I think it is more of a personal loss for them, and also as the aspect of, they'll be thinking that if they cannot finish the course, it affects the outlook of their own undertakings that they have taken. The other aspect of it is that I always work with the ProTrain team, great team, either with Sarah Jamon, Michael, or even John, and we try to figure out why is it that they are not able to finish a course, and we try our very best to assist them.
Right.
But sometimes life just happens.
Oh, you're right, it does. The other significance of not completing a course is that, when they come up and they've not completed, and the school has to put that grade in and it's an incomplete, okay? Let's say they only used $1,900 of the $4,000. They will not get the remaining $2,000 because they've not been a successful student. They will, the DOD is not going to reward them again, hoping that they'll do better the next time. They're just not going to do that because they can afford to be selective with this scholarship. I've got a question coming in from the field here. Have you found working with on-base education centers help to enhance the success of your military spouse students using MyCAA funding? Is that helping spouses? Sam?
I would say 100% yes.
Okay.
Their referrals and their support, especially, and understanding the spouse's needs and counseling. I think it is a wonderful tool to be able to be used.
How about you there, Brenda?
Yes, and like Sim said, it's able to see what they need, and so it's having those one-on-one conversations with the spouses and word of mouth. I mean, I don't know how many times I've had somebody call me and said, well, you spoke to so and so, or so and so learned this at another base she was at, and she transferred to mine in another state, and now she told me about it, and I'd like to know more. So it's really having those conversations, but boots on the ground, that's the best way to do it sometimes, and visiting them and being there for them is really, really helped.
My experience is that a lot of those counselors that work at the education centers, guess what? They are military spouses. They have already participated in the program, so they know firsthand the ins and outs and what to tell spouses, okay? And the other thing I heard you both say is that, I mean, we're talking about MyCAA, but when applicable, it's not inappropriate to talk to them about workforce investment fund opportunities within your area because they are unemployed or underemployed. Okay. I mean, there are certain bases like at Quantico, the education center at Quantico, that their head ed service officer would rather tell a spouse, go tap the state's $5,000 first because there's no rank restriction on it whatsoever. And then if you need some more, tap that MyCAA program. Okay. So I want our audience to remember, okay, there's more than one way to help skin this cat to try to find good funding opportunities for spouses who are unemployed or underemployed. Don't forget about the WIOA funding. Okay. And our program talked about the WIOA funding yesterday on the panel. Let me ask you this question. Do either of you think that waiver will ever come back to allow spouses to take a course over $2,000, or you think it's going to stay locked at $2,000?
I think the reason it probably went down is we were very successful. I think this was a program that actually, you know, was a turn of events because we became so successful in getting people to take part. And we're educating our communities, and it's a great thing. I I think it'll be a while before we go back to the 4,000. I'm hopeful that it will. I think that they'll realize that they just could get a little bit better credentials if they were at the 4,000, because there's some courses we just can't bring to a $2,000 level. We just
Right.
can't. And
Right.
so I think they're going to start to see that reflective in our students. And so I think eventually it will. I'm hopeful that the government will allow more funding for this program so that we can bump it up. But I don't think it'll be, anytime soon.
Okay. Sam, what are your thoughts on this?
I share the same sentiment with Brenda. I'm hopeful that it will go back, or even maybe even up to $3,000 if they're possible, because a lot of the spouses need this help rather than coming out from their pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Well,
hopeful.
I think, I mean, one of the things is that if they're letting more enlisted spouses and warrant officers get it, that's going to be more tax on those resources. So they're probably going to try to stretch those resources out as much as they can. The other thing I found out, and I've seen this also in the Army Credentialing Assistance Program, is that as a lot of people are aware, even in WIOA, when you find out what the ceiling is that they will allow for funding,
Mhm.
some vendors will put everything just under $4,000. And on the Army Credentialing Assistance side, they're literally shopping pricing.
Mhm.
So if for example, most people are offering CAPM at $900 to $1,000, and somebody's offering CAPM for $1,500, they're calling that vendor in on the carpet, challenging them why they're $600 more than anybody else. And they're giving them the opportunity to reduce their price or not play in the program. The DOD could very well follow suit on that. Okay. That's why we've always tried to keep our prices affordable. And if we offer the same program, for example, in GSA, I give the DOD the GSA price. Okay. It's just easier to do that. Okay. There are some people that try to max out and take advantage of programs, and in doing so, less people are actually getting helped. And that's I think what some of the sensitivity here is from the DOD. Last question I've got, and I'm looking, there's nothing else that's coming in on this side, is what programs do you think allow spouses work from home type jobs that you're offering? Brenda.
So, the HR professional, that has been a turn in that field where a lot of HRs are working from home and will come into the office as needed. And so I think with that change in that industry, a lot more have done that. They're able to do a lot of that documentation and things from home. The other one is any kind of computer science, of course, which we do offer, and that's been a big hit. Bookkeeping, that's a big one, which is a great field, I think, for people to get in. And then the medical billing and coding, of course, that's a lot of what people can do from home. So
Okay.
that's another big field for the remote job field.
Any other programs that you can think of, Sam?
Some I like the webmasters
Mhm.
and the IT field where they can do some of those codings that can be done from home base. Beside those mentioned already by Brenda, but as I always highlight that all these courses are quality courses,
Right.
and we keep lowering the scholarship that the sponsors are getting, then we need to understand that the quality of the programs will go down. So to maintain the quality of these programs, I think we really need to look at the fundings. We really hope that the Army will listen to us. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that there be some type of a consortium with vendors in the future to go over that. I think that's a great point, Sam. We do have another question came in. How hard is it to become an approved MyCAA school partner, and how does that application process work?
um, you would have to get an account with the Department of Defense with the AI portal, and then there's documentation that you need. But as long as you already have a third-party vendor, they'll provide that documentation for you. A lot of times, like ProTrain's really good on, you let us know what you need, and we'll get that document to you. You upload it in their system and send it off, and they'll let you know if you're approved. And then the process after that is pretty easy of uploading the programs to it. Again, your third party, a lot of times if you give them access, they'll be able to help you. It's actually a very easy, simple process, and then maintaining it is easy and simple as well. There are a lot of steps, but it is a government, entity, and so you will have to update and input their grades and keep track of things like that. But it's all worth it in the end.
So I know, first of all, you have to be an accredited institution.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have had either been regionally or nationally accredited.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, if you're just a fly-by-night out of the garage school, some mom and pop operation, you are not going to be able to play in the MyCAA program. The next thing you got to do is you got to get a cage code, because you have to have a cage code, and your bank account has to match to that. So when you get the ACH payment directly from the DOD, goes to your school's bank account. So that has to be set up. And then there's a DOD MOU that has all the rules in it. You must sign that says that you're going to abide by that. And then just about every year you're updating that MOU and signing that. Okay. How do you get kicked out of the DOD? Mess with spouses and have about 5 or 6 of them say you've messed them over, either messed them over on price, gave them poor support, your program was terrible, they didn't pass the exam. I mean, when you're a 3- and 4-star school, no problem. If you're a 1-star school, then the next time the DOD MOU comes around for approval, you might be scrutinized by their counsel, okay, and have to show cause why you should be allowed to continue to support spouses. But it's a great program, and I will tell you, we're proud to serve spouses with both of you two. You guys, you have the best attitudes, total passion about serving spouses. It's what we're all about, and as we said, spouses will tell other spouses when it's been good. They will tell them in a nanosecond when it's been bad, but we know we do good work together as partners, and that's what's important. I just want to take time out to first of all, thank again our sponsors who made this all possible, and all of our contributing partners. For example, in this presentation, Sam and Brenda, thank you for being on with me today. I would remind people that later this afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern time, the next panel will talk about grants and best practices. We've got 3 great schools that are going to talk about that, and that panel will be led by Mike Schroeder. And then at 3 o'clock, we're going to talk about empowering communities through understanding how to use nonprofit organizations that can partner with educational entities for the non-partners, because there's a lot of non-partner grants and dollars are out there, another funding stream that you can make yourself available to help people. So once again, I want to thank everybody that was involved in preparation for today's presentation. Once again, personally and professionally, Sam and Brenda, thanks for all you do every day for all our great spouses. It's been a privilege to be on the panel with you today, and I thank everybody for being on today, and you'll hopefully join us this afternoon. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great day. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye now.